right, welcome back to the Rock and Roll Ghost podcast. This week we have Jimmy Gnecco from Hours. He's out on tour with the band, promoting a self-titled album from last year. And just for the Chicago people that listen, they're playing the Beat Kitchen next, Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday, April 14th. They're going to be playing Minnesota and Milwaukee soon too. How you doing today, Jimmy?
I'm doing well. We're here in Denver. We're just leaving Denver, and the shows have been pretty epic. So we go pretty hard at the shows. So just kind of coming around.
Yeah. What Hours has been, your band essentially for a very long time at this point. I mean, you go way back to when you were back in high school, and
yes.
You kind of, you kind of disbanded it for a bit, and then you came back in earnest in the mid -- and signed to DreamWorks and put out your first album by Steve Lilywhite in 2001. What is the difference between touring now from touring at any other point in your career?
Well, I think the good thing about it now is it feels more, early on when we were just kind of getting going, we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants in the sense of not really sure of what we were doing. We felt, the band was well rehearsed, and we felt good about the songs and all, but it was still so much to learn out here. And now, we've been doing it for a pretty good while now. So I think the difference now is that I think without like over controlling, and I think we're in more control of just the set, the music, like what the entire set feels like, the experience that we're able to create just out of, from experience and stuff now. But as far as like the climate goes with people, that's changed so much as well. People then, like, it was really a hot time for people to go out and see bands, our kind of bands, like alternative bands. It seemed like there was a lot more going on. People were that generation of people seem to really be into live music, and now a lot of those people have grown up, and what happens, you have more responsibilities, you grow up, you get tired, and so we are seeing a lot of people from way back when, but not as many as we would like, in the sense of just people getting, like I said, a little comfortable with staying home, with everything at their fingertips.
Yeah.
So, but as far as, playing and everything, we feel better than ever. So that's good. Gas is, astronomically increased. But we're still, I think we enjoy it more now than we did then, in all honesty. So,
yeah. Who in the band has been with you the longest at this point, the current version?
Well, I guess basically, so we're out touring right now. This group, without anybody changing, has been about 7 or 8 years playing together, which is the longest band that we've ever had. But if you break it down, see, Race has been with us the whole time, so going back to the mid '90s.
Yeah.
And April joined up with us around 2003. Started playing with us a little bit after that. So, it's the longest is Race in April.
Yeah.
But then the other guys, that's been consistent as well for, like I said, 7 or 8 years. So it's the longest this is the longest running band that we've ever had. So that's the other thing about it. It feels like we've just kind of begun, because we were gearing up to go out and play a few years ago, but then we just started to make all this new music, and then naturally the pandemic kind of held things up for another 2 years. So that was another 2 years that we were basically underground rehearsing. So it's been a long run right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a good feeling to, at this point, to have a core group of people that you obviously know, trust, and you play together well enough for it to last that long. Is that
100%
in music? Honestly, people oftentimes get really irritated with spending that kind of time with people, or something happens or what have you. So it's probably a little bit of a good security on stage to know, like, you got these people to really lock in and have your back.
Absolutely. This is, like I said, they're the three, drummer Chris, bass player Carmelo, and guitar player Mikey. They're all a bit younger, and they were playing together as a band when they were really young, like all through high school and stuff. So I kind of joined up with them towards the end of their high school, and so it is like a young band, like kind of just starting. This is their first run at really being out and doing it, so that makes it exciting for us too, to watch them experience that and to experience it together. And it really creates, in the truest sense, like just like a brand new, real, genuine band. As much as I've been the glue through the years, the constant, and I say this a lot, but through the years we had really great people with us, through different chapters, kind of like Bowie did, different chapters of different records. You had certain people and players, and they were all great. It's just a matter of keeping that together for a long period of time. It's difficult, not even out of arguing or anything like that. There's not really any of that with any of the past members. It's just that they come in the band, and a lot of them, in all honesty, were inspired to go and do their own thing after they spent some time in this band. So they're still with us when we go through town anywhere, where they live. We just went through the South, and we had our old buddy Static jump up with us and play, and we were just in Los Angeles, and our other buddy Locke, who also played during that time, we spent a few days with him, and he came up and played with us. So it's always like a growing. There's no real set thing on a set number of people that are in the group. It could vary at any given time, but as far as the at this point, this is definitely like basically like we started a band back 7 years ago.
Well, that's gotta be a rarity in where people leave a band and everybody still kind of gets along, because most of the time people leave a band for a very specific dramatic reason. It's not usually because everybody's cool, and people just want to go off and do their own things, or priorities change. It's usually some sort of altercation tends to happen in music generally. Creative people,
Totally, and that's the thing. I think if we would just say, like, okay, why do you think that has happened? Why we're still all so close? And I attribute it to through the years when I had picked different band members, when we were kind of going through and finding people, we always based it on who we wanted to hang out with. It wasn't necessarily about getting, if you find somebody that's a really great player and they know it, there may be a lot of ego attached to that, and then problems could arise from that. And we never really dealt with that in the group. It was always like kind of having a radar for good people, and saying, okay, this is somebody that we really want to hang around with. And it's our relationships have only grown through the years, and they continue to. And so it's I kind of attribute it to that, like the core of like where it started, and none of it was based on ego. They still rooting for us and are always excited to be a part of it in any way that they can in their lives at that time, you know. So we're really blessed like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let me talk a little bit about looking back in your past. You know, like I said, the first album was produced by Steve Lilywhite, who, I mean, has produced so many amazing people. You know, you also got to work with Rick Rubin for Dancing for the Death of an Imaginary Enemy in 2008. You know, do you feel, first, how were those relationships, and do you feel like just kind of overwhelmed that you got to work with a couple of legendary music guys like that?
Yeah, I love both of those guys very, very much, and have the greatest amount of respect for them. Both very different kind of process. Like Lilywhite the thing is, like, Lilywhite started the record with me and with the group that we had at that time, and I essentially finished it. Like I produced the rest of it. Like I produced the single without him. Sometimes I did that without him. I did a song "I'm a Monster" without him, and so basically what happened was he was there every day for around, I think it was like 7 weeks or so that we did that in, and then I went on to do what I would basically do with Rick as well, which was I just went and made the record. I brought the band together, and kind of technically I produced it. So Rick was very hands off, but connected to it 100%, like knowing what was going on the whole time, but very much like never came to the studio and said, go make your record. Because I think he knew that's what I really wanted to do and what I needed to do. It wasn't, I didn't need somebody necessarily saying, okay, we'll do it this way, do it this way. What I really needed was a great engineer partner with a great ear and great taste. And so very different ways of working. Like I said, Lilywhite was there every day, very hands-on. And that was good for what we were able to, for what we got with Lilywhite. The songs that we did do with him are that way as a result of him, for sure. They wouldn't, you know, something would be a little bit different here or there if it wasn't for him. Better or worse, it's subjective, but definitely different as a result of him being a part of it. And we had a blast with Steve, and again, love him very much. And I'd make music with Steve and with Rick again if it came up, without a doubt. Yeah.
Well, with Rick, I mean, he has an odd approach to how he produces than most people. He is notoriously hands-on in a way, but not in the I'm going to be on top of you guys every minute. It's more like a guru almost than anything else. I believe. Totally.
That's what I was going to say.
Which is a very weird thing for a producer. Normally, producers are, you know, they're right on top of you. And they're sitting there, you know, yelling about the drums not being in the right place or whatever. And Rick's very very chill. Yeah.
And that was great. That's what we did.
Yeah. Well, obviously you have a lot of, you know, knowledge yourself of taking care of what you want at this point. You know, how do you feel your role as putting everything together in the studio has changed since making that first album? How have you grown?
Well, that's pretty much when I went off and did those extra songs on my own, I felt like I found my way, and I found the process that worked for us.
Yeah.
And so I think I've just expanded upon it, you know, right down to now I've engineered everything and mixed everything as well on the new records.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Am I cutting
Yeah,
out?
yeah, no, it's not. I thought maybe you were cutting out, but I guess you weren't. No, sorry. Well, what
So yeah, it's.
oh, go ahead.
I just.
Oh, you did just cut out there.
Sorry.
You were
Okay,
saying
sorry.
about something, and
Yeah, I just kind of expanded on what I kind of figured out on the first record on what worked best for us. Not by choice, but by default, I mix everything,
yeah,
and that's really pretty overwhelming mixing.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I prefer not to. But you know, to find the right person, the mix is really a huge part of the performance, in my opinion.
mm-hmm.
So, am I cutting out?
A little bit, just a little bit. You know, you're in the middle of the country. You're in the middle of the country. You ever see those phone commercials where in the middle of the country nobody seems to ever have any satellites up or anything, towers?
Yeah.
So you're kind of in a rough spot for cell service.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. This is where we're at.
Yeah, nothing. Looks like Indiana. With less corn, no.
Yeah.
Well,
Colorado.
I'm not going to keep you too much longer because, you know, with the issues, but you're coming through the Midwest, you know, specifically you're playing Chicago. You know, you played Chicago a number of times. In fact, I saw you're coming back in August to play Schuba's, which is already announced. As a tour stop, what do you like most about being in Chicago?
Oh, where do we begin? There's just a spirit to it. You know, it reminds us of New York in a way. And so when we're away from New York, we really miss it. So to have a spot like Chicago come up in the middle of a tour really helps to fill that kind of void.
Yeah.
It's a great city. Really great city.
It's basically, it's the next best thing to New York, I suppose, in terms of size and scope, I suppose, and toweringness. LA and Houston are great, but they're kind of flat. You know, and well, let me ask you one final thing, and that's what new music do you find yourself gravitating to now, or is it stuff that may not necessarily be new, may be before something you were even interested in music? Like, you know, like for example, like I've found an interest in jazz later in life, you know, which is going back far before even my parents were born in some cases. You know, what kind of new stuff or stuff have you been listening to that really just kind of, I guess, turns you on in that sense?
Lately, it's it's all been the same through the years for me. Always looking back and catching up, and always interested in brand new stuff. Listening to a lot of the latest like Richard Ashcroft records. Really love Ashcroft. His songwriting, his voice, his whole spirit. We listen to a lot of that. A lot of Depeche Mode.
Okay.
A lot of dance stuff over the last bunch of years as well. That's even going back to like a lot of the 70s dance stuff, disco. Rock, you know, for me, it's always been rare, but I do love it. There are pockets of it that I love, you know, like we love cranking up Whitesnake, stuff like that still. Blue Murder, Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime is forever going to be a great one as far as rock's concerned. You know, tons of always Sarah McLachlan, Katie Lang, still a lot of Morrissey, a lot of Nina Simone.
There you go.
Just kind of all over the place, really. A lot of Stevie Wonder. So all over the map. Nothing specifically as far as new bands that I've heard that I'm over the moon about. Not that they don't exist. It's just that I'm probably out of the loop at this point. But other, like I said, the last few Richard Ashcroft records, Liam Gallagher records, Noel stuff, High Flying Birds, also some great stuff there. Love Kasabian.
Yeah, those guys are cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been working on music, like so much music around the clock now for about a decade, just around the clock. And we haven't been on the road, so it's just I haven't really listened to much. And we'll finish working, and then we'll put on dance stuff just because it feels good. A lot of Seal.
Yeah. A little bit of a change up maybe from what even you're doing.
Yeah. Totally.
Gotcha. Well, I've got a driving playlist that literally is called 100 Years because it dates from the 20s to now. So,
cool.
I mean, I've got stuff on there that sometimes I forgot I put on there. Got like that stuff from the Prohibition days.
Oh, nice.
That weird ragtime stuff where you expect somebody to get shot by a Tommy gun any second.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, Jimmy, I really appreciate you taking the time. As a reminder, ours is on tour now. They're playing the Midwest very soon. They're playing Minnesota, Milwaukee, and they're going to be in Chicago at the Beat Kitchen on April 14th. This will be up before then, so hopefully people catch that and check you guys out on tour. And the new album is out as well. The self-titled new album is out. So
yes.
Go buy a copy.
We will be doing our first record in its entirety in Chicago.
That's right. Distorted Lullabies.
Distorted Lullabies, yeah, from top to bottom. So we've been enjoying doing that. So
that's a really cool thing to be doing. I always love it when people come through town and they do an album, and you're probably gonna be performing other stuff, I would imagine too.
Yeah. It's kind of like a pretty long set that we do. But
yeah, nice. Well, the Beat Kitchen's a really cool place to play. I hope. I don't know if you played it before, but it's a really cool, tight spot.
We have not.
I'm sure you're gonna rock it out.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best.
All right, Jimmy. Well, thank you very much, and stay safe and have a great rest of your tour.
Thank you. Good talking to you.
All right, good talk to you. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.